Hello everyone, welcome to our channel. This is our new series Samachar, where we'll be discussing important current affairs from each month. Let's start our first episode with a topic from September: One Nation, One Election, from Polity and Governance. Let's know what is One Nation, One Election. It is proposed system to conduct simultaneous elections for the Lok Sabha, House of the People, and all Vidhan Sabhas, state legislative assemblies across India. This system aims to streamline election processes, holding them concurrently every 5 years to reduce the frequency of elections and the associated resource expenditure. Before knowing more about One Nation, One Election, let's see background of simultaneous elections in India. Simultaneous elections were initially conducted in India following independence, starting from the first general elections in 1952 and continuing through 1957, 1962 and 1967. But in 1971, this practice ended when the Lok Sabha elections were preponed due to political considerations under Prime Minister Indira Gandhi. Subsequently, the cycle for state elections diverged due to factors like early dissolutions, no confidence motion, and varied political instability. One Nation, One Election came into limelight again based on modern recommendations. The Law Commission of India 170th Report 1999 and the Parliamentary Standing Committee on Law and Justice 79th Report 2015 recommended One Nation, One Election to reduce costs, ensure administrative focus, and promote good governance. Several countries such as South Africa, Sweden, and Indonesia conduct simultaneous elections for their national and regional governments, demonstrating successful implementation of similar models. Let's look into the benefits on implementing One Nation, One Election. Good governance. One Nation, One Election can reduce campaign frequency, allowing governments to focus more on long-term governance rather than recurring electioneering. With fewer disruptions due to the Model Code of Conduct, governments would face less policy paralysis and can concentrate on continuous development initiatives. Resource conservation. Holding elections simultaneously would conserve substantial financial and logistical resources for both the Election Commission and the state governments, enabling funds to be reallocated towards developmental projects. Enhanced voter convenience. With One Nation, One Election, voters would need to participate in elections only once every 5 years, potentially improving voters' turnout and civic engagement. Curbing freebies and political spending. Frequent elections encourage populist measures and political spending to appeal to voters. One Nation, One Election can help mitigate this by reducing the incentives for short-term, politically motivated policies. Stability in governance. One Nation, One Election can provide a fixed-term government, reducing political instability and allowing parties to deliver on longer-term promises, improving accountability. What can be the challenges faced on implementing One Nation, One Election? Constitutional and legal challenges. Constitutional amendments are necessary, particularly in Article 83, 85, 172 and 324, to adjust terms and empower the Election Commission to conduct One Nation, One Election. It requires significant legal changes and potentially state ratification. Impact on federalism. One Nation, One Election centralizes election timelines, potentially reducing states' autonomy over elections and governance. Critics argue this undermines federal principles by restricting a state's ability to dissolve its assembly independently. Operational logistics. To implement one nation, one election, a vast quantity of EVMs, VVPATs, and polling personnel are necessary, posing a logistical challenge. The Election Commission would need a large-scale, organized procurement and deployment plan to accommodate concurrent elections. Political diversity concerns. National issues may overshadow local issues in state elections, disadvantaging regional parties. One nation, one election could empower large national parties while limiting the influence of smaller regional entities. Economic impact on informal sector. Frequent elections provide temporary employment to campaign workers, event organizers, and other service providers. One nation, one election could disrupt this informal economic cycle. Voter behavior and education. Critics argue that voters may conflate issues between state and national elections, affecting their judgment. Extensive voter education would be required to differentiate between state and national election issues. Let's get an idea about key recommendations by the high-level committee headed by former President Ramnath Kovind. Phased synchronization of elections, which means elections will be conducted in two phases. That is, in first phase, simultaneous Lok Sabha and state assembly elections will be conducted, whereas in the second phase, local body elections will be conducted within 100 days of the general elections. It proposed amendments to Article 82A, 83, 172 and the introduction of Article 324A to align terms of Parliament and state assemblies and allow continuity in the election cycle, even in the case of mid-term dissolution. Implementation of single electoral roll. A unified electoral roll for general and local elections to streamline process, requiring constitutional amendments to align state subjects. Logistical preparations. Election Commission of India will prepare a procurement plan for EVMs, personnel and security resources in advance. A collaborative plan with state election commissions for municipal and panchayat elections will also be developed. Implementation group. Establish an implementation group to monitor and coordinate the One Nation, One Election process with all necessary stakeholders. That concludes our episode. Now, let's take a moment to answer the upcoming questions in the comments. For detailed notes, make sure to check the description for relevant links. If they are not up yet, don't worry, we'll update them soon. I hope you found this video insightful and gained some valuable knowledge. Try subscribing to our channel, that will tag you with us. Thank you.